Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Cloud on Channel and weekly sessions. I just wrote there in the chats, we are facing some technical issues. The speaker is just rebooting his machine. And in the meantime, I just welcome you, everyone. Tell me, how are you doing? Where are you connecting from? And hopefully our speaker in the next few minutes will be available to join us and deliver this great session. Let me know how are you doing, please. And also, can you please confirm that you can hear me fine? Can you hear me fine? Anyone that can? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Joe, and welcome. Happy day, everyone. The speaker is just, well, the speaker is just restarting his machine. So 2-3 minutes, he should be back, and we should be able to just get started with this session. So quick one before, so in order for us to get started, pretty much as you know, today it's a great session about talking about governance of Azure ID identities and using Graph API and using as well Microsoft Graph Powershell as well. So our speaker apparently it's just connecting, just a sec. And as usual, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat. We are here to help you out and answer as much as possible your questions. And also, of course, feel free to apart from those questions, share any feedback, share any comments. We are here to hear everything from you. Hopefully, the speaker will join soon. And just 1 more or 2 minutes and we should be able to get started. Let's just see if he joins eventually. In the meantime, feel free to use the chat. Let us know where they are connecting from, how is going your day. Sorry for the inconvenience. We usually don't have these kind of issues, but you know, there is always a first time for everything, or almost everything, not everything. So yeah, let's just give it a few minutes to the speaker to just connect, and hopefully we'll be able to join us and get started. Okay, we have our speaker apparently. Let's just give it a few seconds for him to enable the camera and so on. Hi, Makesh. I hope I pronounce your name correctly, and welcome. I have been in Warsaw. That's a great city, definitely. Okay, I think we have Arindam. Arindam, can you hear us?
Yes, hi, I can hear you. Finally, you.
All good.
I'm like, I know that you are always very punctual and you're always very organized. And I was struggling so hard that it's already 2:10. We are 10 minutes past, and I was just worried that what you might be thinking.
Nah, relax,
I'm
man.
very
It's
sorry,
all good.
man.
This is a community, so we need to understand and be patient with each other because, as well, we are trying to do our best and to
Yeah,
just deliver these sessions. So, and nobody is getting paid for this. So that means it's all about supporting each other. Okay.
thank you so
Um,
much.
For everyone, I see some people that just already connected to us, and I believe people are excited to just get your presentation and learn more about identity governance using the Microsoft Graph PowerShell and also the Graph API. So without further ado, the stage is all yours. If you are happy, just do me a favor, share your screen so I can enable
Yes.
this.
Yeah. I'm just
Um,
actually, I'm just logging into all the things because I just rebooted. Just allow me just 20 seconds more
No
and I'll
worries.
be ready.
Take
I'll
your
be
time.
just ready.
In the meantime, I will just chit chat with the participants in the chat. Makoej, let me know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And quick one is it your first time joining us on the Cloud One Channel One sessions, or have you been joining before? Also, Joe, do you want to let us know where you are connecting from? I apologize. I don't usually moderate sessions. I'm kind of the guy working behind the scenes to make the lights work. but but today the moderator couldn't join us, so I had to replace the moderator. So here I am, and
Don't believe what Hugo is saying. So he's the brain behind everything. So I don't believe
I'm just
that.
a guy that connects the cables, to make the lights work.
Oh, no, 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 I don't believe that. Come on. No. So, no, no. Just, so,
Okay, Makoej, thank you very much, man. I hope you enjoyed the session today. And as usual, please, if you can, to support us as well, feel free to just share share the session on social. Take your okay, Matt is simple, yeah, definitely. Okay, I will keep with Matt. Feel free to just take any shots. Any selfie that you want to just share the work being done by the speaker, by Arindam, and also by our team here. And feel free to share and help us to promote on social as well. I see we have here Tanvir from India. Well, great. Thank you very much, man. Welcome. Um,
okay. So, Hugo, I'm now ready to share my screen if it's okay.
yeah, can you just share the screen? And here we go.
So, entire screen. And I will share.
If you
Just let
want
me
to
know when you
share
can see.
something on social, just tag Cloud1 on LinkedIn or even Twitter. We have our account there, and it will be massively great help in terms of promoting as well these sessions. Okay, thank you very much in advance. If you can, you just need to to use there the presents in option
Oh,
to share.
okay.
Yeah,
So I
present there
have,
in studio and then present, and I should be able to just activate your screen, and we can get started.
okay. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah.
Once again, everyone, apologies for the inconvenience here. It's not usual, but there is always a first time for everything, so or almost everything. So yeah, just put your presentation right in them there. I don't know which screen you shared, but yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So this is the one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, can you see your
So
screen
you can
now?
see Hugo, right?
Yeah, I can see, and I think it should be fine. One thing, just quick one. Sometimes the lads forget about highlighting this. We have some comments of people sometimes complaining about the size of the letters in the recording, in the video. So please, if you can, just set the zoom level to maybe 125 or 150. Yeah, perfect. And here we
Okay.
go. Okay, are you happy to take over?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna just let you go ahead. Okay, good session. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Arindam Mitra, and I am a cloud solutions and DevOps architect. I am basically based out of Switzerland, and I'm working for one of the trading companies in Switzerland, and we are massively in a very large scale using Azure Cloud in our organizations. So overall, I have 15 to 16 years of experience, close to 16 years now, an experience. And I started for 10 long years, I was in a pure data center. And then I slowly moved to cloud. So the first year I spent in AWS, and then I moved to Azure. In Azure, I started with cloud assessment, and then lift and shift, and then I started with DevOps and infrastructure as a code, architecting, designing, automation, build, run, maintaining, and all kind of things. So I am now leading the cloud team in my organization, and I am now basically the architect and leading a team size from Spain, Switzerland, and India. I have also been on 1st of April. I recently got my MVP. So I'm now a Microsoft MVP in developer technologies. So I've been doing this for close to a little more than 1 year. That I have been blogging, speaking, and sharing my knowledge mostly on PowerShell, on Terraform, on Azure DevOps, GitHub Actions related to all DevOps and infrastructure as a code. So the topic which I'm going to present today is automate entitlement management in Azure AD, identity governance, and I am actually using my Microsoft Graph PowerShell. Um, since I introduced myself, I would like to tell you that you can find me in my blog site. So this is basically my blog site, and I have all my codes, all the codes which I write. It's available in GitHub, and I have my Sessionize profile, which you can see here. I normally whatever I blog, I put it here, and from here I'm basically applying to all the speaker sessions, just like Cloud Lunch and Lunch. And if they like it, they they nominate and they give me an opportunity to speak in their forums. I'm also in Twitter, and feel free to connect with me. And I'm also in LinkedIn. So let me close all this. Otherwise, there will be a lot of pop-ups coming up here and there. So yes, so if you go to the my repository and if I look for the entitlement, then you will see that what I'm going to present is this one. And my blogs are basically all version control, which means that if you are, if whatever you see here, all the contents which you see out here, it's exactly the same content which you will see it in the README documentation of my repository. So this is a repository. So feel free to read from any of the part. You can read from GitHub. You can read from my blog site. And this is the code which I am going to run. So this is basically the code which I wrote with the Microsoft Graph PowerShell, where I will explain you that what everything is happening. So this is my basically the whole code. So this is all available, and feel free to use it and give me feedback if something is not working. Okay, so I will go to the blog, but let me explain that what exactly does it mean when I say that Azure AD identity governance, Microsoft Graph, entitlement management, and everything. So imagine that you're onboarding many projects. So when you're doing a lot of projects, of course there will be a lot of Azure AD groups. And when there are why would we have Azure AD groups? Because we would be having our RBACs, role-based access control, attached to the AD, because as best practices, you won't like having the individual identity in your tenant or in your directory services to be mapped to RBACs. That's not sustainable. That's not the best practice which we always create Azure AD groups, and then we associate those RBACs. And these groups, which are attached to the RBACs, then can be applied on the subscription level. They can be applied in the resource group, or they can be applied on the resource level, depending upon how scalable or how robust you are creating your admin and the ops concept. So in that context, there can be one project can have 10 AAD groups, then the other project will have another 20 AAD groups, depending upon how many services you're using, how many RBACs you want to apply, how definitive you want to create your admin and the ops concept. Now, you're creating all these groups. Okay, you have now created groups. You also added the members in the groups. But what happens in the daily operation is that somebody might be changing the team, somebody might be getting added to the team, and then there always will be operational tasks coming to you saying that, hey, I need to add these people from the groups. I want to remove these people from the groups. Of course, the other option is that for each of the group which you are creating, uh, um, you are making maybe the application owner as the owner of the AED group. But is it sustainable? Because maybe he has, like, in his project 20 or 30 AED groups. So if he has to remove one person from, who has left his team, and he's working in a different team, and you want to revoke his access, he has to individually go to all those 20 AED groups and remove it, which is like tedious, and this is not the way we would like to do in a real-time scenario. So this is where this whole entitlement management, identity governance is coming into picture. So what we are doing is, there's a concept called catalog and access packages. So catalog is basically a container, or a group which is holding the access packages. Now in a catalog you can have multiple access packages. Now when these access packages we are creating, in these access packages, I'm associating all the groups. So suppose that you have 5 AAD groups, which is having an admin level of access, and there are like 10 groups which is having an ops level of access. So depending upon the scope of the work in your team, if somebody you want to say that he's a senior guy and he is contributing more to the project, he has much more knowledgeable, and you want to delegate him a little bit of admin permission in your project, uh, uh, with all the Azure services which are in the resource group, which is part of the subscription. So what you do is you go to the access package and you assign that particular user to that access package. Once you do that, it automatically, if that access package has 5 AAD groups, it will automatically assign that user to that 5 groups automatically, which means that you never have to go to the individual groups and then remove it or add it. You don't have to. Or you don't have to add that application owner to each of the AD group owners. So this is the advantage. Even this, when you want to remove it, you just remove from the access package, automatically he gets removed from the AD groups. So this is a very important in where we are, like where I am working with my team, because there are a lot of different rules, and there are a lot of AAD groups, and we find this automation very, very helpful, and it really eases our work. It also reduces the number of cloud tickets which is coming to our service desk, to my operational people. And it also gives the ability to the application owners that the infrastructure or the cloud platform team is not a bottleneck in these areas, but they are actually creating this whole automation for the application guys to do their task independently. Okay, so this is the whole background of it. Now, when we are talking about catalog and access packages, then the most important thing is that who can create the catalog and the access package in an Azure AD tenant or directory services. Anybody who is, of course, a global administrator is a very, very normal answer. That any if global administrator is like a root in Linux operating system, or administrator in Windows operating system. No questions. So global administrator is the right answer. But apart from that, there are other privileged identity management roles, PIM roles. So anybody who is having the PIM role of user administrator or an identity access administrator. So any one of the roles if a user has, so that user can basically elevate his permission to that particular PIM role. For example, user administrator, or maybe identity access administrator, and then he's entitled to create a catalog. Then he can create those access packages, and then he create those policies for these access packages, and then he can do and then he can assign and remove the users. Now this is the part where the cloud platform team is doing. Once the cloud platform team has built this automation layer, How is the application guy going to use it? Now, when we are creating the catalog, I told you about the catalog, I told you about the access package, I told you about the policies within the access package. But there is also one more concept, which is called the catalog owner, catalog reader, access package manager, and access package assignment manager. So there are four roles within the catalog. And for these four roles, you have additional four AED groups attached to it. I will show you, and then probably it will make much more clear. But I just wanted to give you a background so that when I'm showing it, you can all correlate and you can connect those dots. So, what does a catalog owner does? Catalog owner is like a global administrator in the Azure AD tenant. So, catalog owner is like he can create a catalog, he can manage a catalog, he can create a access package, he can delete an access package, he can create an access package policies, he can remove an access package policies, he can assign a user, he can remove a user. That's the power of the catalog owner. No question. Owner means it's like self-understood. What does a catalog reader? He can do all the he can I mean like he can see everything, but he will not be able to do anything. It's again the concept of reader. What does an access package manager means? Access package manager means that he can only create access packages within an existing catalog. He can only assign a user and remove a user, but he will not be able to create a catalog. What does catalog assignment manager means? Access package assignment manager means that he cannot create a catalog. He will not be able to create an access package. All he can do is, if there are existing access packages, he can just assign the user and remove the user. So why I'm explaining you this all role of the catalog? Because you as a platform team have implemented the whole automation. And this automation you are building for whom? You are building for the application guys to do their day-to-day task effectively. But again, they have to assign the user, they have to remove the users. They might be able to create by automation we created four access packages. Then again, there might be they added few more groups and they want to create two more access packages. Of course, they should have the ability of doing it. So here, what we do is, once we build the whole layer of automation for them, we hand over to them, and then we say that, hey, now this automation is ready. What you can do is now, give me one person who is really a senior person whom I can make like an access package manager, and then maybe a little junior guy in your team, in your application team, who can be a access package client assignment manager. I'm just making scenarios so that I can better explain you. I mean, no offense to anybody. So, so what I mean, so we have like two sets of people from the application team. One is the access package manager, another is the access package client assignment manager, which means that one has the ability, one has the only ability to add and remove assignments from the existing access packages, and then other one has the ability not only to create an access package, but also to delete an access package and also to assign and remove an assignment of the user from the access package. So we have like two different category of people depending on whatever the application guys they want to do, which means that the platform team has now created an automation for them and they are no more the bottleneck. We step back, application takes over, and they can manage and maintain. So this is what I try to explain in my blog. So I will just run my blog and then we will completely jump into the demo and I will show you. So this one I submitted. This one is one of my latest blog which I wrote in the month of I think February. I wrote and then I presented it to Azure Spring Clean. So this was just a submission. This is for the very first time I'm doing a demo and in one of the communities, and this happens to be Cloud Lunch and Learn. So I haven't done this demo anywhere else. So I just have submitted, and they published it into their events. So this topic got selected in Azure Spring Clean, and now again in Cloud Lunch and Learn. So what my automation is doing here, again, I try to write down, I'm creating all those catalogs. Then I'm creating there is like a group which is there. I'm onboarding that group to the uh, to my catalog. Then I am creating some AED groups, and those AED groups, I am attaching those role of the catalogs into those AED groups, like catalog owner, catalog reader, access package manager, and access package client assignment manager. Then I'm creating the access package. Then I am adding the already added group in the catalog to the access package, and then I'm creating the access package policy. So this is the automation objective which I am doing, which my automation is doing. Then I explained you that what is the entitlement management, so those three things, depending upon what it is doing, a little bit of a background introduction. Then I also wrote you that what you actually require for in order to run my automation in your environment. Because if I'm not giving you the requirement and I'm just giving you a bunch of code, you will never be able to replicate in your own work environment. So these are the basic requirements in order for you to better understand and effectively and successfully execute the code which I've written. And this is like the use case that, okay, if I am building this automation, why I am building the automation? There's always a why. If there is no why, then the automation doesn't make sense to me. So that is why I wrote that assigning and removing one or more user from one or more AAD group at the same time in a very simple language. Of course, I can elaborate more, but time is the essence, and I have to keep the blog so that everybody can quickly understand and they can easily start implementing. Then I have my repo where you will find from here, if you click, you will land up into exactly my GitHub repo. Then is my code snippet, the entire code I have put down here as well, just for somebody who wants to copy. And then I have started to explain my code. So of course, the first part of my code is the variables. So you see that all these are the key value pair. So I have created a variable, and then I assigned the value. So even if you keep the same name and run the code in your environment, it should not make a difference, because I'm pretty sure that in your environment you won't have AM lab or these kind of naming conventions. So I don't see a problem. But of course, you can always change these values and run it, no problem. So till this, these are depending upon how you want to build it, you can define your values. But the most important part is these ones. So here you see that I have hard coded these object IDs, these role IDs. I'm sorry, it's not object IDs, but these are role IDs. So why I have hard coded? Because these are provided by Microsoft, and these are constant values. These are not going to change. So catalog owner will always, no matter how many catalogs you are creating in your directory services, they will always have this role ID. Catalog reader, again, no matter how many you are creating those groups and attaching this role, it will always have this role ID. So these 4 values are constant, they are not changing. This is again written in the Microsoft documentation. I'll come back to that. That is why I have created a small comment out here. Now, if you see the whole, if I scroll up a little bit, you see that in my whole code, I have always used the comment very effectively. I mean, I don't know about all the audiences or everybody out here, but I am not that smart that I will remember everything. So it is more for me. I mean, of course, maybe you remember, you have a better brain power, and you can remember a lot of things. But what I do is I always write comments so that I can remember that, yes, if this particular code snippet, if I have to revisit after 6 months and I have to refactor the code, and if I have to change something, I have to add, I have to do an enhancement. I don't have to again sit for 1 hour to check everything to understand. I don't, because I know that I have put a comment. That is why I put a comment, but feel free to do on your own way. So this is how you see that for everything I have put a comment. Now the first thing is you have to connect to Microsoft Graph, and this is where I'm putting the Microsoft. I'm connecting to the Microsoft Graph, and then I'm putting the scope as entitlement management .read .write .all. Again, this is not my invention. This is again mentioned in the Microsoft documentation. I read it. I put it in my code. Then of course these are all mentioned in the Microsoft documentation, that if you are using a Microsoft Graph Powershell software defined kit SDK, then you have to always use this particular code snippet before you can write your or execute your own things. Then basically the next is like, I'm creating a catalog, and then I'm getting the catalog identifier. Then I'm creating
Aringam,
all
quick
those
one.
AAD groups.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah,
Sorry
I
to
can.
interrupt. Do me a favor, just zoom in a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm just checking on YouTube side, just to be sure that the
Mhm.
letters are all good and visible.
Is it okay, Hugo?
Please, one sec, because there is a delay between the YouTube and
Sure.
the live stream.
Sure.
Okay,
I can
looks
wait.
good, looks good. Yeah,
It
all
looks
good. Yeah,
good?
perfect. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
No problem. No worries. No worries, Hugo. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Okay. So yes, so I was here. So, so this part of the code, I am creating the catalog, and then I'm getting the catalog identifier because, that I'm going to use for all the rest of the code. Then I'm creating all those AAD groups where I'm going to use those AAD groups to configure catalog roles in administrator. Okay. Then what I'm doing is like, here, if you have written down every possible thing that, once you have created all those groups and everything, since when we are creating all those groups, when I was preparing the script, I saw that, if I am just executing the next part, somehow there's a delay. And, the group's object ID is no more found. It is saying that resource not found. So what I did is like, I started experimenting. I thought that, okay, I will just pause the script for 10 seconds. It didn't work. 20 seconds, it didn't work. 30 seconds, it worked. But sometimes it is working, sometimes it's failing. So just for like, like to give a good amount of time, I said, okay, let's pause it for 1 minute. And when I paused it for 1 minute, and then when I did the smoke test of my script, like I did like 4 or 5 times, I ran it just to see that if the 1 minute delay in my script, which I'm putting, that work in all scenarios. It works perfectly. So there is no thumb rule. If you ask me, if anybody has a question that, hey, Arundam, why 60 seconds? There's no thumb rule. Because when I was doing, sometimes it was like, in 30 seconds, the group was getting populated. Sometimes it was taking 45 seconds. There was no like thumb rule that for like, 1 minute. And in 1 minute, I'm getting the whole thing, I'm getting the object IDs, there is no failure in my script. That is why. So when I'm creating the group, in order for the group's object ID to get populated, which I have to use in my subsequent script, that is why, I'm putting a delay of 1 minute. Okay, again, there is no thumb rule. So then again, after these things, this is what I did. And you see that I'm pausing it for 60 seconds for the newly created groups to be populated. It's again written in my comment and everything. And then, how I'm assigning those things to my catalog owner, reader, access package manager, access package, client assignment manager, everything is in this particular code. So once this is done, then I am just onboarding. I have an existing AAD group. So I'm just for the test purpose, what I'm doing is like, I'm just onboarding one of my existing group to my catalog, which I've created. And then, I'm getting the ID of that AAD group, which I added in the catalog because, that will become my origin ID for my resource rule when I'm adding that particular group to my access package. Then I'm creating those access packages, as you can see. So here you can see that this is I'm creating the access package, and then I am basically adding the AAD group, the existing AAD group, which is already added in the catalog in the access package. Once it is done, then finally I'm creating the access package policy. What is this access package policy? The access package policy is basically nothing that, for example, behind every access package is AAD group. And when I'm assigning a user to an access package, it is basically I'm assigning the user to all the AAD groups which are attached to that access package. Now, when I'm assigning a user, what does the access package policy does? It does that, it gives me a definition that, okay, if that user is assigned to that access package, for how long? So in my policy, if I write down that, okay, 365 days, which I have configured here as well, 1 year. So for 1 year, that user will have the access. And when the 1 year is finished, that access will be revoked automatically. I don't have to do anything. So these are something, these are, I mean, like this is one of the policies which I have configured. There are of course, the other ones, but I just explained you the easiest one because then you can really understand that what exactly is the access package doing. So I will show you once I run the automation. Okay. Now this is the whole thing, and then when I did some test and everything, I wrote down that how when the MS Graph PowerShell SDK, like I have to connect, how does the screen shows up, then how does the screen getting executed successfully, and then the validation and everything. Now this was all about my blog. Now when I come back here, so this is my code. Of course, I have showed you my code and everything. The most important thing is that I had to read a lot of Microsoft documentation because you cannot find everything from one link, and that is why I have also written down all the links out here. That this link helped me to create the catalog. This link, helped me to manage all the resources to the AD Entitlement Management. This helped me to build the access package catalogs and everything. This gave me the role definition IDs that which I showed you. So I put together all the links that from which link you know I got the idea, I took the help, and then I built the script. So you can find all those links out here, and you can read those, and then it is very easy to understand and correlate. Okay, cool. So now since I have explained you this, now what I will do is I quickly jump into my things, and I will just check whether everything is okay. So so now you see that I have some test groups and everything, and you have like I have this one, this particular AAD group. So this is my existing AAD group, which I'm going to onboard in my catalog. And subsequently, after onboarding in the catalog, I have to also onboard this particular group, which is my example in this whole automation context. I will also onboard in my access package. And then, when I assign a particular user into one of the access package, then you will see that, that since it will be a part of the access package, it is automatically assigned to that particular AAD group. Okay. So far, if you go and see here, you see that there is no members. Okay. Just remember this. Now, what I will do is here, let me show you something. So when you go here in Azure Active Directory, you go first to the identity governance. When you go to the identity governance, you see the catalogs. This is where you see the catalog. So this is a built-in catalog. This comes by default in your subscription or in your Azure AD tenant, test tenant. You can find the same thing. So I don't have existing no catalogs, and I also don't have any access packages. Okay. Now, what I will do is, I already have my script in this folder, and I have already ran it, before I came for this session. I just wanted to be sure that my script is running. So this is my script, and what I will do is I will just run the script. You see that, it is saying that welcome to the Microsoft Graph, and the first thing it is doing is that it is creating an AM lab catalog, and then the script is pausing for 60 seconds because it is waiting that all the AAD groups which has been created, it's giving some time to populate so that the object IDs are all available, and then we can use it. I will just pause for a minute so that the script execution completes successfully, and then I will resume my conversation. In between that, Hugo and any of the audience, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I think no questions so far, Arindam, as far as I can see from the chat. But of course, I kindly invite everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to just raise those questions. It's always good to take this opportunity that you are live with the speaker, so you can just challenge him about what he's presenting. But so far, yeah, we have some comments in the chat, just but no questions so far.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so you see that before I go to the GUI part, then I will show you. You see that the first one, it is showing me that the AM lab catalog got created. Then it is pausing, and then it is saying that, AD group catalog owner created successfully and has been mapped to the catalog AM lab. Same with the catalog lead reader, same with the catalog access package manager, and same with the access package assignment manager. So all this happened. So first, a catalog got created. Second, 4 AAD groups got created. Okay, catalog like AM Lab catalog owner, AM Lab catalog reader, AM Lab catalog access package manager, Lab catalog access package client assignment manager. Again, feel free to change the name. Here is AM means Arindam Mitra and lab is my lab environment. And then I just put catalog owner, reader, all the same naming conventions like Microsoft. And then I assigned all those predefined roles, to those groups. Then I created the test group, which I showed you before the automation. I onboarded that group to the catalog. Then I created the access package. Once my access package is completed, I onboarded the test group, and then I created the access package policies. That is what is the last one. Okay. Now let's see the part. Now I refresh it. As you see, my catalog AM Lab got created. I have put a small description, AM Lab environment catalog. And you see that in this particular catalog, you see that you have one access package attached to it, and you have one resource attached to it. And you have enabled this access package. Okay. Now, if I go to this catalog here, then you see all those resource, access package, roles and administrator, custom extension and reports. So we will ignore the custom extension and reports because I have not configured those things as a part of my automation. My automation is only consisting of resources, access packages, and roles and administrator. Let's start with the roles and administrator. I go to the roles and administrator. What do you see? You see AM Lab catalog owner, the one which I created. And this is the AD group name. And this AD group name, if you see this one, it has the role assigned as catalog owner. This one has attached like a catalog reader. This has been attached as access package, and this is access package client assignment manager. And you see that if you want to do the same thing, you have all those functionalities here on the top. Add catalog owner, add catalog reader, add access package manager, add access package assignment manager. So if somebody who is doing this over portal, they can use this functionality. But since I'm doing as a part of my automation, as a part of DevOps, I am just programmatically, creating those groups, attaching it to the roles and administrator. Now, all these things, if I just open Azure Active Directory in a different tab, okay, if you see that, if I go to the groups, you see, you have all those groups which I created. Owner, then reader, then you have the reader one here, then you have the access package manager, then you have the access package assignment managers. Okay, cool. Then this is a part which we did. Now we come to the resource part. You see the existing group which I showed before the automation, before I ran the automation, that got onboarded to the catalog. You see that groups and team, and this group type is a security group. Okay. We all know that in Azure Active Directory, there are two types of AAD groups. One is security, another is dynamic groups. So my group is security group. That's what I try to meant. And then finally, I have the access package. And this is my name of the access package, a little description. And if I click on my access package inside, I again have different features. So let's start with the first one, resource roles. So the group which is onboarded in the catalog, that same group has been onboarded in the respective access package. If I go to the policies, this is the access package policy. So this is what I have defined. I have named the access package policy as Administrator Managed 365, and I have given a small description. If you go here and if you click on the edit button, In the edit button, you will see that this is the name I have given. In the request, I have put it as like none, which means that anybody can directly assign to the access package, and I've enabled it. In the requester information, there is nothing. I have not created anything. In the life cycle, you see that what I have done, I have selected the number of days as 365. Uh, uh, on the section where users can request specific timeline, I have said yes. If I say here, allow user to extend access, I said yes. And do you need a access review? I said no. Okay, so this is what it is doing. So this is how. Now, if I go back to the access package, so this is all about the automation. Now, what I will do is I will go to, so this is my access package, AIM Lab access package. I showed you the resource role. I showed you the policies. Now, where do you assign the users, which I'm being always telling that, hey, you have to assign the users to this particular thing. So now if I go to the new assignment, you collect that, okay, this is the policy. You select it and then you add the user. In my case, I have like, U1 as a user. Okay, I added it. Now I added the U1. You don't have to specify anything else here because, your policy is already defined for 365. If you need anything less than that, of course, you can custom select that, okay, I don't need it for 1 year, I just need it for 1 month. Maybe you are a good user, but I'm a bad user. I will say that, hey, who cares? I will just take it for 365 days. The more the merrier. I would like to keep my access. So, it comes from the policy. But if you are a good user and a very, very, reliable, and you want to say that, no, I just need for 30 days, and then you can always, select that 30 days and you can do the selection and you can add. But I'm a bad user. I will take the 365 days. I just added. Now, you see the status out here. So delivering, partially delivered, and everything. So this is the status when a user is added or removed. Now, if you refresh here, you say that, it is being delivered. Okay. Now, what does it mean? Now I'll go to the groups, and what I will do is I'll just refresh it. And this was my test user group. And this didn't have any members. Now you see it has a member U1. I just did it with one group. This access package can then have 1,000 groups, doesn't matter. All U1 user will be added to all the groups. If I remove it, it will be removed from all the groups. And the part where I said that, we have built the automation and now we have to hand over to the application guys, I will come to that as well, just to conclude my demonstration. So this was the assignment. Now you go back to the AIM Lab catalog. So I'm in the catalog, I go to the roles and administrator. In the roles and administrator, you see the access package manager and the assignment manager. What I will do is I will add one of the senior guys in the access package manager group, and I will add a little junior guy, then the senior guy in the assignment manager group. So those two can then, the access package manager can then, create multiple access packets. So far, we have only one. If he wants to create further, depending upon the other AAD groups and roles, he can create it. And he can also assign and remove users from the respective access packages. The access package manager can do this, but if if the junior guy can only add and remove. So we have like two different category of people in the application team who can better support their own team, and the cloud platform team is independent and they are not bottleneck, and they are not in the critical path of the project, because many a times they would like to play around with rights, permissions, and everything, and you cannot give them rights on these directory services level. So this is where the entitlement management, identity governance, access package, catalogs, this comes into picture. It comes really very handy. And since I am like a DevOps advocate, I like to automate everything which I can. That is why I created this automation, and this particular automation is actually used in my company as well because it's being built by me. So that is all from my side. I have this is what I wanted to explain. I hope I could explain you properly. Feel free to read my blog. Feel free to go to my GitHub. Feel free to connect with me. But yeah, so far I think this is all I wanted to show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Arindam. That was great. So on time. A quick one. I don't know. Your camera at some point just got frozen, and I don't know what's going on. Now it's back.
It's
Apparently,
back.
I don't know what's
Yes.
I don't know what's happening there, but yeah, some magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freezing. Sometimes it freezes the camera, but it's fine. Listen, we don't have any questions in the chats. I just wonder if we could give 1 minute or two in case people have
Absolutely.
any questions. Feel free to
Sure.
just use the chat and share the questions while we are here. We still have 4 more minutes to go until the time goes off. But yes, so if you have your questions, feel free to just use the chat. In the meantime, thank you very much, Arindam, as usual. You delivered a great session. It's good that you have a blog to support your session, so you can, if you want, let's do one thing. Feel free to can you just share the link with me, and I can post
Absolutely.
there in the chats.
Absolutely.
Or if you want, feel free to just post there in the chats directly on YouTube as well.
I will give it to you, Hugo. So this
Okay.
is I gave you in the private chat the blog link, and I
Okay.
will now give you the GitHub link as well.
Okay, can follow. I'm just going to, for everyone, I'm just going to drop a message here in the chat that you can access these links and review some of these contents afterwards, and also reuse some of the scripts that's in the NAS there ready for you. Just posting there the message at the moment. Okay, the blog link is there, and also the GitHub link is going just right now. Perfect. All right. See, I don't see anyone posting any questions in the chat, so I believe we are good to go. Close the call and maybe have some lunch, depending what time of the day you are.
Yeah.
On my side, I definitely am going for lunch now. So, yeah, thank you very much once again, Arindan. Once again, congratulations for your MVP.
Thank
It's
you
a
so much, Hugo.
well-deserved. I hope you can keep the great work to the
Absolutely.
community, and
Absolutely.
we keep in touch. I know that you have
Absolutely.
some more sessions scheduled for the Cloud Launcher One in the near
Yes.
future.
Yes. Yes.
In the meantime, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Matt. Thank you very much to everyone joining, Joe and Tanvir, and everyone watching this session. Feel free afterwards, if you are watching this session as a recording in our YouTube channel, feel free to share your questions in the chat to the speaker. I'll share the link with the speaker, so then he can subscribe to the video and follow up on any questions that you may have. Okay.
Okay.
In the meantime, have a great day, and see you next week to the next
Thank you
session.
so much, Hugo. Thank you so much
Thank
for the opportunity. Thank you, guys. See you. Bye bye.
See you. Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye bye.